Introducing the all-new BYD Sea Lion 7, the luxury electric SUV that's changing the game. Book your free test drive today at the BYD showroom in Sheffield.
Dr. Steelhammer, Vladimir Klitschko, and Dr. Iron Fist, Vitaly Klitschko, Shannon the Cannon Brigg, and Butterbean, Cruiserweight King Jai Opetaia.
My prediction is that you're going to fight Conor Ben. That's my prediction.
I like that. I like that. I like that a lot.
What's going to happen when he does?
Huh?
What's going to happen when he does?
When it does.
He knows what's going to happen. He doesn't have to say it on camera. He knows what's going to happen.
As his uncle said, 147 to fight 147. Right, cool.
Okay.
I like it.
Well, as you just kind of alluded to the weights, let me just set this camera up. If you just move back a bit, Spence. There we go, perfect. Right, Spencer Fearon, we're here at the media workout. Just seen the guys, we'll just kind of jump straight into the main event, Spence. A lot's been talked about. One of the biggest talking points was the weight, and today's the first time we kind of got a look at Chris walking in. I got this video of him just walking in. What do you make of that? I'll obviously have the picture up on screen.
He's a very handsome man, isn't he? That's what he's a handsome guy.
Does he look like he's got issues with weight there? I'm just going to put it up on the camera so I don't have to put it on screen. What do you think?
He's had to chop weight, no doubt. But I believe that he shall rehydrate, and then we'll see what happens.
What did you make of the comments? Chris's dad said earlier, it's kind of old news, but he talked a lot about the weight disparity and said it was dangerous, almost kind of looking out for Conor Ben as well, but also talking about his son.
He's not looking out for Conor Ben, he's actually looking out for his son, because he's believing to himself. You got to go back 8 years ago, Chris Eubank Jr. was boxing at super middleweight, right? And saying that, he made the weight comfortably, right? So these things you got to look at, we go back, was it 6 years ago? We go back 6 years ago, and he had his fight with James DeGale. Even though it was a past peak JD James DeGale, but he went in there with James DeGale. So these are the things where you're looking at. Up at super middleweight, he was a different beast. He was a different animal. So these are the things that why I'm saying, Boxing King Media, why the father's concerns. And really and truly, I'm telling you this now. Both sons should give 85% of the money that they're earning on Saturday night to their fathers.
People are going to think he lost the plot there. Why should they do that?
I'll tell you this, because if Conor Ben's name was Conor Smith and Chris's name was Chris Wilson, and they had both the same respected careers and fight records, nobody would give a flying monkeys about this fight. You know what I mean? You know why this is caught attention and blown in the way that it is? Because of what their fathers have done. Their predecessors, what they have done. Though this is why this fight is so big, right? Because I remember as a kid running into my house on a Sunday night, and it was in November the 18th, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of a warm night for November, because we're in winter, right? And seeing Chris Eubank walked to the ring with no music, and I'm thinking, right, he ain't got no music on, right? And Nigel Benn coming out with the Royal Fusiliers, and they're playing the drums, the hype. All of this was built this today. The fact that Chris Eubank, just think, Chris Eubank Jr. has been a professional. I think it's from 2012, right? From 2012. From 2012, he's been a pro. So you go look at that time. That's 13 years. In 13 years, his father had been a two-weight world champion and had 24 world title fights. Right, that's what the father had. So in comparison to what the son has accomplished, I can understand that the son now wants to fill his own shoes. I get it. And I'm not stopping nobody to say fill your own shoes, but Chris Eubank Sr. is absolutely right in the things that he's saying. You know why? Because he's right for him. And this is a father speaking here. Right? But even though everyone's saying it's a circus, I understand it is a circus. And I shall be spectating this circus.
Isn't the game ultimately about making money now? The world's changed from back in the day, hasn't it, though?
But you don't make money. It's impossible to make money. If you want to make money, you have to work at the Royal Mint, right? We earn money, right? We earn money. And every father should want their son to do better than them, right? Because Barry Hearn has wanted his son to do better than himself, and Eddie Hearn has taken that and been on the shoulders of his fathers and exploded in this world of promoting boxing. We have to give him his dues for that. That's incredible what he has done, right? You as a father would want your children to do exactly the same thing, right? So God bless these guys for what they're earning and how they've gone and done things off of the back. But here's the thing is this. Nigel Benn truly believes in his hearts of hearts that his son is going to be better than him. At this moment in time, in the comparative nature of how long his son's been a professional, it does not compare to what his father has done, right? Going to America, knocking out Doug DeWitt in April of 1990, right? To become the WBO champion. At that time, we didn't even class the WBO as anything. It was Nigel Benn that brought the WBO to this country that made it recognizable. And then him losing the title in his second defense to Chris Eubank Sr., and then when he lost the title to Chris Eubank Sr. ran with the WBO and made the WBO a recognizable force in Europe. At that time, the title was only around for 2 years. You know what I mean? So all the credit in the world should be given to how things have germinated and how they've grown. All the credit in the world.
But isn't that your birthright, though? You know, most fathers will say you do everything for your kids. So isn't their birthright to take on, whether they're taking on the dad's money, fame, whatever, name, etc. That's your birthright, isn't it?
It is your birthright, but respect given to Chris Eubank Jr. because he said, I want to make my own path. I don't want to be in your limelight. Do you know what I mean? I don't. And I get it. I understand it. But here's the difference. Conor relishes the fact that he's in his dad's limelight. He loves it. And there lies the difference.
On that, based on what you've seen today, there looks to be, Chris clearly looks like he's dropping weight, because 2 days before he's already looking slightly drawn from the video I just showed you. What happens Saturday night?
I see a very, very explosive fight, right? And depending, and this is me being truthful here, it's not me sitting on the fence. Depending on which each man has left inside of their heart and in their desire, then we're going to know what happens.
That's sitting on the fence, that, Spence.
No, it's not.
Does it go the distance?
Does it go the distance? No, somebody's going to get stopped. It's not going to go the distance.
How early?
I would say 7 rounds.
Not
a lie. It'll be over in the 8th.
Just want to quickly get your opinion on Ben Whitaker, his comeback, coming out to boos and then basically leaving with cheers, and also, you know, breaking down in post-fight, showing, you know, he's an inner person, should I say. What did you make of the whole?
I really enjoy Ben Whitaker, right? I really do. Was it our former Prime Minister Wilson said, he who rejects change is the architect of decay. The only human institution that rejects progress is a cemetery, right? This young man has implemented change in his life. I was on the phone last week to Lennox Lewis, and Lennox Lewis said, boy, you know what? He said to me, Hamza Shiraz, he was talking about Hamza Shiraz, and he was saying the best thing Hamza Shiraz could have done is go with Andy Lee, because of the body type that they are, how Andy Lee used to box, how he used to set himself. But equally, look at the size of Ben Whitaker, right? He has that frame, gangly arms, where it'd be so suited that him being with a man like Andy Lee, who doesn't get the credit. I know Andy Lee from baby days when Andy Lee used to come down from Ireland to the Repton and be around Tony Cece, our beloved brother. So that's how long I've known Andy Lee, and Andy Lee's always been that student of the game. And the thing about boxing, this is what Lennox said to me, and I'm going to quote him. He was saying, when we look at boxing, who is these trainers, who were their predecessors, right? Who were they? Andy Lee's predecessor was the late, great Emmanuel Stewart, right? All-time great as a trainer, and he lived with the man. So it's different than being around someone. You know, you live with them. So it's a serious thing. It's a very, very serious thing.
I spoke to Don Mingle, who was quite probably a bit too brutal about Ben's post-fight press conference, and he described it as being snowflake. I disagreed with him, so I just want to ask what you breaking down. Basically, he broke down because the online abuse he's been having over the last 6 months, and obviously it took its toll on him, and he had he was a bit emotional at that moment.
Number one is this: Dave Caldwell is my really good friend, right? One of my longest friends in boxing is Dave Caldwell. I didn't like the fact that Dave Caldwell was saying that he spat at somebody, right? When he didn't spit at him, right? But then everybody's running at the narrative. And then I was seeing the tirade of racial abuse that Johnny Nelson got. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be real with you. Johnny Nelson, I would say, yeah, is the most appeasing, fan-friendly, inoffensive person who works on this side in boxing of color. Right? So, but sometimes when I see it, there's some part in me that says, good, I'm glad that's happening to you. For the simple reason is this, like, you have to know the evil entities that we're dealing with in society, right? So, I didn't like that. I didn't like when Andy Scott was asking, about the spitting, so I'm glad that Andy Lee just jumped in and said, yo, brother, cut that out. You know what I mean? So big up Andy Lee for that. No, obviously you could see, Ben Whitaker's been through a lot, yeah? Because remember, he's still a kid, right? Right? And he's human, and he must have a lot of pressure on himself. Equally, he puts a lot of pressure on himself with all his antics and everything else and blah, 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 and all the rest of it. But my thing to Ben Whitaker is this: work from value. Know that you're the value, do not strive for it. So all the credit in the world to him. That was a very impressive performance. I did kind of feel a bit sorry for Liam Cameron, because he's actually a beautiful guy. I've been watching the videos where you're doing a day in the life with him as well. I've been watching those on Boxing King Media and found it very, very entertaining. But this is the game, right?
You live by the sword and you die by the sword.
1,000,000%.
On that note, Spencer, Fearon, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, bro.